Last week on Sailing Bagheera, we have 5 days of drizzle and overcast weather at Early Beach. We have a new inverter charger installed. Murray shows off some handyman skills making a backing plate for the inverter control unit. We meet a new sailing friend, and on the first fine day we head off to Blue Pearl Bay on Hayman Island, where we start this week's journey. Blue Pearl Bay during the day was a lovely retreat, but during night the winds turned a little bit westerly and we got hammered. However, there's a really good weather opportunity coming up in the next couple of days, so we decide to head out to the Outer Reef.
Surprising when you're out on the water how big the ocean is. You still come across other ships or boats as you're travelling. We thought we were going fast enough to get in front of this guy, but in the end we pulled back. We realised he was going way faster than us. Coming into Bait Reef. There's no markers here, which should be here, so mate in front's giving us some tips of how to get in there. A couple of bommies just here on the right. Some mooring balls on the left, so we're just going straight through here. Going right over the top of a bommie, oh my god.
We went into Bait Reef on a rising tide, so it was pretty safe, the route that Mark took us. Plus his draft is 1.6 and ours is only 1.2, so wherever he went I knew it was safe for us to go.
So we picked up a mooring here in Bait Reef, and who should be beside us but Begonia, Kyle and Marianne. So it looks like they're out diving. We'll hopefully wave out to them later on. Fancy this, in the middle of the ocean, who should you find but Kyle and Marianne?
Watch out, here we come.
From Begonia. You'll think we're stalking you.
Mark got his drone out just to show you how good the Bait Reef is. Inspired by Kyle and Marianne, we decided to go for a snorkel ourselves, so we head off to the stepping stones. Cyclone Debbie a few years ago decimated the reef here, so there's not much coral but plenty of fish life. Because the weather window was only a couple of days, we could only spend 1 day at Bait Reef. It is a place I wouldn't mind going back to and exploring a bit further. So the next day we head off to Hardy Reef. snorkeling at Hardy's Reef wasn't very good. There was plenty of fish life, but once again the corals dead. But the fishing was really good.
Oh yeah. Take two. Oh. Wow.
Let's see what that is.
I've seen a fish like that before. Take three. Anyway, so far they've all gone back in the water.
This one.
Parrotfish. Take four. I've lost count actually. So I think it's four. All within about 30 minutes, I've got to say. He thinks it's the same one as last time. Bit bigger. Oh, he's got nasty blue teeth.
He's a coral eater, that's why.
Oh. Anyway, he's got to go back.
Next day we decide to motor through the passage between Hardy's Reef and Hook Reef. But first we say goodbye to Jeff and his family, who have travelled all the way from France.
Good morning! Heading off? Going up the channel? Yeah.
Nice snorkeling there yesterday.
Oh, it was?
It's okay with the current.
Hi girls! How are you? Good luck!
See you later.
Bye! Kind of lucky to be here while there's not lots and lots of tourists, but I guess it's kind of sad for the tour operators during this COVID-19 that there's nobody here, no one able to be here, use the facilities. Hopefully everyone survives financially. It's sad. Guess it normally doesn't look like this. Nobody here. All closed up.
Mark helps us safely negotiate the passage, and then he heads off to Hook Passage, and we carry on to Butterfly Bay. We get a nice escort on the way to Butterfly Bay. These dolphins stay with us for about 5 minutes. Every time you see water coming up at the lens, you got to remember Cheryl's holding that camera at the time, so she ends up getting drenched.
Butterfly Bay. Hopefully we get some protection from this southerly. No internet, which doesn't surprise me, surrounded by these hills. Picked up the mooring right at the end of Butterfly Bay. Very pretty here.
While we're in Butterfly Bay, we decided to do a tender tour. The footage is obviously sped up. I can only wish that my tender would go this fast.
Come out of Butterfly Bay and heading around to Stonehaven through the Narrows, which is between Whitsunday Island and Hayman Island. Island over there.
The winds are meant to get up to about 30 knots for the next couple of days, so we just looked for a good anchorage. Butterfly Bay was pretty good, could have stayed there, but we like to explore, so we've gone to Stonehaven Anchorage.
Stonehaven today to Langford Island that has this sand spit running off the side of it. I'm sure for a bit of a walk later, and you can climb up to the peak of the island. It's rather nice. Just next to Hayman Island. Feeding it something.
Oh, I was cleaning the filter. It came up from underneath here and I go, oh, what's that?
Bring back over here. Come on.
So we go for a walk on the island. When you're on a boat, you have to get exercise wherever you can.
These Whitsunday bottle trees are just pretty spectacular. There's Bagheera in the background. And Cleo's Angel. He fell over.
And that's where we leave this week's adventure, but we will continue with our discussion about how we started and the processes we went through. Continuing on with our series regarding how we got started, and some of the considerations we had to go through. This week we're going to cover what sort of boat to buy. For us, we did a pros and cons list of monohull versus catamaran. Now, some of the pros in a monohull is that they are cheaper to buy, they are cheaper to run, and they are cheaper as far as marina fees goes. There is more of them to choose from than a catamaran. They perform better generally than catamarans do. They sail a bit faster and they point into the wind better than a catamaran does. To me, that's the advantages of a monohull. The advantages of a catamaran are that they're stable, there's more room on them, easy to sail, and safety wise there's probably more redundancies on a catamaran than a monohull. Some of the things that go against a monohull for us were in particular that they heel over when they sail. Cheryl and I weren't that keen on having to sit on one side of the boat while it's sailing. When I put a cup of coffee down, I like to know that it's still going to be in the same spot. And also on a monohull there's just less room. You've only got, basically don't have the saloon space up top as what a catamaran does. Now, some of the disadvantages of a catamaran since we bought it is that there's such a thing as hull slap, which is the waves coming up underneath the hull while you're sailing, or sometimes even while you're anchored, and slapping underneath the hull and making a hell of a noise, sometimes waking you up. There's more ongoing cost with a catamaran because there's more on them basically, and the larger they cost more to maintain and put in marinas. And finally, the catamarans just don't sail into the wind very well, certainly not as well as what a monohull will. Downwind they'll hold their own, but going against the breeze not so well. So there are things you just need to consider as to what you want to, what your budget is, and what you're after in a boat. They're the things that we considered anyway. And that's the end of this week's video. As always, we'll just finish up with some photos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and thank you to all our current subscribers. We're now over 200. We'll see you all next week.